Welcome to the MommyZen podcast with Marianne, Clyde.
Hi, this is Marianne, Clyde, and welcome to another episode of the MommyZen podcast. Our affirmation for today is, my presence makes others feel at ease. My presence makes others feel at ease. And to help me talk about that today, my guest is Kimberly Entrican of Tagaloo.
Hello.
Hi, Kimberly. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Can you tell me a little bit about what is Tagaloo?
Tagaloo is a place that offers kids parties and a variety of enrichment classes, or what I would call enrichment classes. We have art, sewing, jewelry making, birthday parties, and etiquette.
And so you do that kids and adults both, right?
Absolutely, kids and adults.
Why etiquette?
I felt I'd been doing this for a while, and I felt that there was a need for etiquette, and a lot of people think of silverware and plates when they think of etiquette. But when I think of etiquette, I think of opportunity and building confidence in children.
That's neat. How did you get your training in etiquette?
I went to Athens, Georgia, to the Etiquette and Leadership Institute, and I actually was trained by an amazing group of ladies who've been doing this for over 30 years, and they are a sister school to the Protocol School of Washington.
Well, cool. And now you told me off camera that you had encountered several different kinds of demographics when you were there.
Yes.
What different kinds of kids, different socioeconomic levels?
Absolutely. One of the groups that I saw, and I have to be honest, I had never experienced this before. It was an alternative school, and the children had been kicked out of regular school for pretty severe reasons. And I was nervous. And when I went there, everything just all those opinions went away because these kids were so engaged. And again, for me, it's about opportunity. It's about building confidence. I know when I was younger, there were things that I probably didn't do because I didn't know how, or I didn't want to look silly in front of everybody. So what I teach is, yes, we're going to learn about the knife and the fork and the plate, but it's really about knowing what to do in any social situation. And I tell the kids that I teach that if the president were to walk through the door, you would know what to do. If you were to go out on a date, you would know what to do, or go to a dance, you would know what to do.
And you've always taught me that etiquette is making others around you feel more comfortable.
Absolutely.
That's kind of the essence of what you teach.
Absolutely.
And one of the things these days that I think kids battle with is our society's kind of faceless. And they don't really know how to engage in conversation. And you, I think, have some really good pointers on how to get a child comfortable with engaging in conversation. What do you start with?
There are a few things that you can do. One of the things is, and this is what I see a lot of, is that kids have their electronics and their face is always down in a electronic.
It's not just kids.
No, you're right. It's not. But one of the things is to actually be present in the conversation that you're having. So a good introduction would be to introduce yourself, to speak clearly, to look at the person in his or her eyes, and just stay away from the electronics. But
well, yeah, I mean, if you can park your electronic, you even said at Tagaloo you don't allow electronics.
No, I don't.
Have to park their phones at the door. And I think that's really important, because even when I do a meeting, I'll ask people to turn off your cell phones, because it's essentially rude to sit there and be.
It is rude.
Even
going to the grocery store, when you're on the phone and the person is checking you out, I see that a lot too. That's rude, and to me, that's being disrespectful to that person who is helping you get out of the grocery store. And the same thing, I do see adults a lot of times when I've seen children who don't have their electronics and they actually speak to the adult, there's actually a look of shock from the adult that they're actually.
You're talking to me?
Exactly, you're really talking to me. But another thing is to start a conversation. You never want to really start a conversation with a yes/no, a question that would have a yes/no answer. You can have leading questions. How was your vacation, or have you gone have you gone to any football games lately, or what's your favorite sport?
Yeah.
And so,
Well, one thing you had said earlier was the importance of eye contact.
yes,
And I think with any conversation, that's huge. Because
Absolutely.
It gives a sense of value because I care enough to look you in the eyes. It gives you my undivided attention, and it shows that I value you. If only for 30 seconds, you know, that we're talking for 30 seconds, it shows that you have value to me. And I think kids are so used to not having eye contact.
absolutely.
And parents call from the next room, you know, and kids answer from the next room. And so when they have a conversation, very often it's uncomfortable to have a conversation that way.
And sometimes I feel that we're really disconnected. I know, talking about eye contact, one of the things that I teach people, there are a couple things that you can do if you're shy to actually make eye contact. It's called the safety zone. You look right here.
Okay.
A lot of times I'll ask kids and they'll say silly things like, oh, well, you look at my nose or you look at my chin. But if you were to look at my chin, your eyes are going down.
Okay.
If you're looking up here, your eyes are up. If you're looking at my ears, they're going behind me. But if you look right here in the safety
your
zone,
third eye.
my third eye, it appears as though I'm looking at you directly in the eye.
That's a great trick. That's a really good thing to teach them. So they should introduce themselves. Hi, my name's Susie. What's your name?
Exactly.
They should maintain eye contact. They should ask questions that show interest, that
Absolutely.
don't
Yes.
get slammed shut with a yes or a no. A how question, or a what do you think question, or a why question, or something like that.
And you should always stand. I tell everybody, even if you're in a restaurant. Now, if you're sitting in a booth, it's more difficult to stand. But
Right.
even if you're in a restaurant and you see friends and you want to introduce maybe your family members to your friends, you always stand for an introduction.
Well, this is something I noticed that kids don't automatically do. Is if they're with a friend, they don't automatically say, "Hey, this is my friend Johnny." You know,
right.
they kind of forget. So introducing who you're with is really important.
Yes, it is. And the other thing is to have good manners or proper etiquette. Again, it goes back to making people feel comfortable. So let's say the kids are going to a party and I've brought somebody who doesn't know everyone. It's important for you to introduce the person who you brought to the group instead of introducing the group to the person.
Johnny,
This is
Susie and Jane and
Yes.
Steve.
yes.
Instead of Susie and Jane and Steve, this is, oh, that's
Because you
interesting.
want to make the person who you brought with you, who is the stranger, feel
pulled in.
feel pulled in. Exactly.
That's really important. Okay, now here's a question for you.
Uh-oh.
What if, because this happens all the time, especially in networking, you know, you see somebody that you know, their face, but for the life of you, you can't think of their name, and you know the person of the name that you're with. So you might say, "Hi, how are you? This is my friend John," and hope that they
Okay.
kick in and go,
That's actually
"Hi,
really
I'm
good.
Kimberly."
That's a really good question. Again, I teach this to every child, adult. If you cannot remember someone's name, it is always important to say, "I am so sorry. I remember meeting you at the networking meeting last Wednesday, but could you please tell me your name again?" Even when you're in a grocery store, and I've done that.
in the grocery store because
it happens
out
a
of
lot.
context.
Again, it's about making people around you feel comfortable. So if I forgot your name and we made eye contact and all of a sudden I turned my grocery cart and went into another direction,
Right.
you would be thinking, what is wrong with her? Why is she
Why is she
ignoring
being a
me?
snob? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's always important to ask the person's name. And the other thing that's really important too is to ask how to pronounce someone's name.
Okay.
And I always tell everyone, I have a lot of kids who actually say this, my teacher says my name incorrectly.
Ooh.
And I tell them it's okay to respectfully correct a person. It absolutely is, because our name is so important to us.
Right, because that's our identity.
It is.
Kimberly, those are some great points, and I
you.
really appreciate that because they're helpful for not just our kids, but our adults too. And we have to set an example for our kids.
Absolutely.
So thank you.
You're very welcome.
Appreciate your being here.
Thank you.
And thank you for being with me today. And remember, our affirmation is, "My presence puts others at ease." This is Marianne Clyde for the MommyZen podcast. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to the MommyZen podcast. For nuggets of encouragement and strength throughout your day, follow Marianne on Twitter @mommy_zen and Facebook at facebook.com/mommyjustbreathe. Also, you can join our mailing list, leave comments, or ask questions by visiting mommy-zen.com.